Welcome to A Course in Business Miracles. This is Heather Dominick, creator of businessmiracles.com and founder and leader of the highly sensitive entrepreneur movement. Join me today for some genuine practical assistance and a business-altering and life-changing experience, a business miracle. This is A Course in Business Miracles, episode number 11, Certainty. What are you truly certain of in your business? Do you know? Listen to today's episode to discover the secret answers within you. Our theme word for today's training is certainty. So to activate certainty, we must be willing to look into the eyes of the opposite of certainty. And for today, that is doubt, that is worry, and that is fear. So very similar to the self-study exercise and go-to miracle tool that I shared with you, the order form to the universe. What we don't want helps us to give attention and even more clarity to what we do want. Giving attention first to what we don't want or taking a look at doubt and worry and fear helps us again to be clear about what we do want and helps us open up to certainty. So the Course teaches that the fear is not of the present, but only of the past and future, which do not exist. So trying to make decisions based only on what we've experienced up until now is literally the definition of insanity. If you're trying to make decisions based only on what you've experienced up until now, there is one thing that you can guarantee for yourself. You can guarantee that there will be no change. And that makes the ego mind very, very happy. But we have to ask ourselves, how can a future of desire be created if you're making the decision for your future based on your past? I remember when I first started my first business, I had saved up 6 months worth of income. I was making a plan to leave my career, my job as a high school teacher. And I gave 6 months notice, first of all, just to be sure that I was committed and I was being held accountable by everyone in my life, including my boss, my principal, and the students that I taught and loved. And I saved up 6 months worth of income so that I knew when I started this job, I started this business as a nutrition and wellness coach, I would have 6 months of income. So if I didn't bring in any clients, I would be okay for 6 months. Now, what's really important about that is that I really had to create effort to save that income. I never had parents who supported me. I didn't have parents who paid for my college tuition or anything else. I didn't have a husband or boyfriend that banked me. I had literally just been living paycheck to paycheck. And so when I stepped into being self-employed, it was at the end of June in 2004, I immediately took 1/3 of that 6 months of income that I had saved and I invested it in my first coaching program. Because I knew that I couldn't just do things with this business venture based on only what I knew. And then when it came time to go beyond what I had created in the first few years of my business, and I was getting ready to invest in my first high-level business training program, I literally had just enough in my bank account to pay for the first month of that business training program. And that's it. But both times that I made those significant investments, and every time since, I was certain that I was willing to do everything that I could to be sure that I was able to continue to keep going. Because the call, the pull of my soul forward was stronger, was louder than any of the smaller doubts, worries, and fears. According to the Course, it takes no time at all to be who and what you are. It only takes years and years and years to deny it. The Course also advises that we begin to use the Holy Spirit's use of time as a teaching aid to happiness and peace. The Course says, take this very instant now and think of it as all there is of time. So when I made those investments, that is exactly what I was doing. I was choosing to literally invest in my future being different based only on the moment that I had in the now. And I have done that over and over and over again since. Interestingly, the Course says that the only time the ego allows anyone to look upon with equanimity is the past. And I know when I first read that, I was like, oh my God, that's so depressing and so terrifying. So let's really look at that. The only time that the ego allows anyone to look upon with equanimity is the past. I don't know about you, but again, that was very depressing to me. I do not want to live the rest of my life based only on what I've lived up until now. The ego speaks to you of heaven like a carrot dangling in front of a horse, but assures you that heaven is not for you. Oh, straight through the heart. So the ego will tell you, oh yeah, there's plenty of people out there who are really creating successful businesses as a coach, as a healing practitioner, as a creative. Oh yeah, sure. But not for you. You can't have a successful business. You don't have what it takes. You can't make the payments of the Course in Business Miracles 6-month group coaching program. You won't get what you need from that program. She's only trying to take your money. You'll never be able to handle the schedule. You can't do it. Oh, this will take you away from your family. And on and on and on. And often, the ego will speak through the fear and doubt of others. So when I made the decision to leave my high school teaching career and start my first business, at that time in my career, I was working in an inner city school in New York City. And this school had a really special program that had been created where we had these smaller sections within a school of 3,000 students. And these smaller sections were called houses. And I worked in the House of Performing Arts. And each house was set up with a business partner in New York City. And the business partner for the Performing Arts House was Bette Midler, famous singer, entertainer. So I actually worked really close with Bette Midler in the years that I was there. We transformed a classroom into a black box theater. She donated old costumes from her one-person show, which we transformed into the first musical that the high school had seen in years. And so when I gave 6 months' notice, Bette came to one of the performances that I had directed, and she came up to me after that performance, and she said, Heather, I hear you're leaving. What are you going to be doing? what can I do to convince you to stay here? And I looked Bette Midler in the eye. I was standing not 6 inches away from her. And I said, Bette, I'm going to start a business as a nutrition and wellness coach. And without even a beat, looking me right in the eyes, she said, well, that's out there. And I thought, interesting. So here's someone who's an entertainer and a creative, and even this person is expressing that she thinks I'm crazy for doing this. And I did it anyway. And no matter how much a lot of people, and they did at that time, tried to convince me to stay, I knew there was a bigger calling of my soul forward. So I always like to say, if I can survive Bette Midler telling me that I'm crazy, telling me that I'm out there for starting a business, anyone else can also survive and move through any of the outer voices of fear and doubt. The Holy Spirit teaches according to the Course, and remember that according to A Course in Miracles, the Holy Spirit that is speaking to that part within your mind, it's your mindset, it's your higher self within your mind. The Holy Spirit teaches there is no hell. Hell is only what the ego has made of the present. And in order to transcend that, it must be peace that you want and nothing else. And I recommend that you write that down. It must be peace that you want and nothing else. Doubt is created because you want to be in control. There is no doubt about what your function is, for the Holy Spirit knows what it is. Are you ready? You're going to want to write this down. Your function, your purpose here on this planet is to live a life that is not of littleness. Complexity, what makes that complicated, is only of the ego and is nothing more than the ego's attempt to obscure the obvious. The obvious that you are here to live a life of magnitude. And if you've been called to be in business for yourself, which most likely you have in some shape or form as being a part of this series, then you are here to live your life of magnitude through your business. But again, the ego wants to make things very complicated. It's what I refer to as the charade of complexity. The ego loves to put on a show, throwing up all of these scarves and images to try to make things look confusing and feel confusing. So the way through that confusion, the way through confusion to certainty, is to always ask this question. Would I be hostage to the ego or host to God? Ask this question every time you make a decision. And I often apply what I teach as the law of adaptation to that question. And when I'm making a decision, I bring to mind my current intention for my business, my current goal, and I ask the question, will this bring me closer to living the actuality of my intention, or will it take me away? And another way to look at it is once again connecting into the power of your intuition. Will this bring me expansion, or will it bring me contraction? Now the ego will try to confuse you and tell you that expansion is scary and contraction is safe. It's simply about expansion, host to God, or contraction, hostage to the ego. And feeling-wise, you know the difference. And I know you know, because you are a person who is spiritual by nature. You are a person who is highly sensitive because you have been attracted to this course. According to A Course in Miracles, every decision you make is for heaven or for hell and brings you the experience of what you've decided for. And let's actually say that again. Every decision you make is for heaven or for hell and brings you the experience of what you decided for. If you remain uncertain, it's only because you have not given complete release. You have not fully surrendered. And because of this, you have not given a single instant to the Holy Spirit. We like to say, when it comes to our desires and what we want to create through our business, we say, God, can you do it for me? Can you do it for me my way? You can practice the mechanics of the holy instant, and you will learn a lot from doing this, says the Course. And by practicing the mechanics of the holy instant, we mean playing around with it intellectually, gathering a lot of information, taking a lot of notes, reading a lot of books, considering that idea, talking about it. And then the Course says, and this is so beautiful, it just brings me to tears almost every time. The Course says, yet its shining and glittering brilliance will literally blind you to this world by its own vision. And I'm going to read that again. Yet it, meaning the holy instant, yes, yet the holy instant's shining and glittering brilliance will literally blind you to this world by its own vision. This you cannot pretend. And how do you experience that shining and glittering brilliance? By trusting in the holy instant, by taking action through the holy instant. And the Course says, don't try to think that you can substitute your plan for His, and therein lies peace. So can you imagine what it means to have no cares, no worries, no anxieties, but merely to be perfectly calm and quiet all the time? And the Course says, yet this is what time is for, to learn just that and nothing more. And for those of us who are HSEs, the perfect vehicle for this learning is through our business. Can you imagine what it means to be in your business with no cares, no worries, no anxieties, but merely to be perfectly calm and quiet all the time? The Course also says that all the wasting of time, all of that seems to bring to you is due to your identification with the ego. It's the ego, that fear-based mind, that slows things down, makes things complex, makes things complicated. It wants you to believe that time is here only for destruction, for suffering, for agony. So if you are discouraged by thinking, oh gosh, geez, how long is this going to take? Really? I got to apply all this stuff. Gosh, it's going to take me so long to change your mind. It's going to take me so long to change my mind. If you are discouraged by thinking how long it would take to change your mind completely, ask yourself, how long is an instant? If you want to change your business, change your mind about your business. How do you change your mind about your business? You decide and then you do things differently. Resistance to change creates stagnation. We are here neither to give littleness or accept it. It makes it very hard to step forward and to serve our clients completely when we are holding ourselves back consistently. Remember, all striving must be directed against littleness, for it does require vigilance to protect your magnitude in this world. And then there's this line in the Course which also just pretty much brings me to my knees every single time. And the Course says that if you knew who walks beside you on the way that you have chosen, fear would be impossible. The only reason you don't know is because the journey into darkness has been long and cruel, and you have gone deep into it. That is your past. But you can have light in an instant. You can have love in an instant. You can have certainty in an instant by doing things differently than you've done them until now. And that is the 6-month group coaching program, consistent practice in doing business differently. It is the way of peace. It is the way of certainty, because I have consciously created it to be exactly that. Awesome. Deep breath in and let it out. And really allow everything you've received from today's daily dose of certainty to enter into your mind, your heart, and every cell of your being, so that the ideas, insights, and inspirations from today's training call will just naturally ripple out into positive impacts in your business and life. And as you go throughout your business day today, remember to pause, breathe, connect into the energy of today's daily dose, and when faced with a challenge, ask yourself, how can I see this differently? It's so important to remember what creates success, what creates business miracles for highly sensitive entrepreneurs. And it's what I like to call the 3 C's. It's about high-level, business miracle, focused content. It's also about coaching support that's designed specifically for the highly sensitive entrepreneur. And the magic ingredient is an aligned, highly sensitive entrepreneur community. We're gathering, we're forming, we're moving forward, and I'm here to continue to walk by your side because we're not meant to do it alone.
Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of A Course in Business Miracles. If you're ready to learn how to use your highly sensitive abilities to support you in being purposeful, profitable, and empowered rather than scattered, poor, and undervalued, take my free self-quiz to find out if you are indeed a highly sensitive entrepreneur. And if you are, along with your quiz results, you'll receive my free HSE Success Guide, which will teach you how to have your highly sensitive abilities working for you to create the results you desire in your business. Take the quiz and receive your free success guide now at www.hsequiz.com.